Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale and I'm owner of Off the Beaten Path located in Forest City, North Carolina. This week's video is for my friends across the pond. I did this video in response to the Queen's Jubilee this year, and actually this week's project is called the Queen's Jubilee Earrings. We do have 4 colorways for this, and as soon as this intro is over, you'll be able to see the pictures of the 4 colorways. The kits this week, if you want to purchase the kit for the colorway, is $18, and it includes all your supplies with a disc in it that has the pattern, because I believe the pattern is like 12 pages long. But basically, for today's video, what you're going to need are two 6mm Montees. You're going to need 16 3mm Bicones, 6 4mm Bicones, 8 6mm rounds. Now these can be pearls, these can be faceted glass, they can be crystal, whatever you want them to do. For today's video, I'm actually going to be using a pearl. You're also going to need some size 11 seed beads as well as a size 15 seed bead. You're going to need a pair of ear hooks and either 2 wire protectors or 2 jump rings for the very top of the earring. I'm going to be using 1 size 12 beading needle, and total for both earrings you're going to need about 2 yards. So what I normally do is go ahead and just thread the needle onto my 2 yards piece of thread, and then do 1 earring, cut the thread, and do the second earring, so that way you don't have to keep cutting your thread. But it's completely up to you however you want to do it. So go ahead and get your materials together and we'll get started. For the video today, I'm going to be doing the pink and brown version of the Queen's Jubilee earrings. Now what I'm going to be using is 2 6mm fuchsia pearls, 16 bronze thunder polished bicones, 6 4mm fuchsia preciosa bicones. I'm using 8 6mm saddle brown pearls. My size 11 seed beads are blonde, bronze, plum, iris, and my size 15 seed beads are matte, raku, plum, teal iris. And you can see you need just very few of those. But to actually get started, I'm going to thread the needle onto my end of my Fireline, and I'm going to thread on 1 6mm, 1 size 11 seed bead, 1 6mm, 1 size 11, 1 6, 1 11, 1 6, and 1 11. So you're going to have 4 of each bead stacked right next to each other. You want it to look just like this. Now I'm going to take these beads, I'm going to bring them down to the end of my thread, and I'm going to tie these into a circle. Take my short tail. You only need a very short tail because you're just going to trim that off. You just need it to tie your threads together. So I'm just going to put me a couple of really good knots in here. Normally I put about 2 or 3. Be sure to watch and make sure your thread doesn't get caught in your seed, and so that when you finish, this is what you will have. I'm going to go through the 6mm right next to the knot. Here's my knot. I have a seed and a 6, so I'm going to go straight through the 6mm. Just the 6. I'm going to pick up 2 11s, my 6mm Monte, and 2 11s. I want my thread to go diagonal across the center of my circle. My thread is exiting in this direction of this 6mm bead. I'm going to come directly across to the 6mm here, and I'm going to come through it going in this direction. I want it to go in the same direction as this thread, so that when I pull it, my thread will go across diagonally, such as this. So I'm going to come through the 6mm here, opposite from where I started, so that it's just like this. I'm going to go ahead and pull, and when I pull, you want to flip your color, the Monte color, to the top, so that this is what you'll have. I'm going to pick up 2 11s. I'm going to come through the Monte, and then I'm going to pick up 2 11s. You can see the X. I'm starting to have my X shape, and I want to finish it out. I started on this side of the pearl, so I'm going to come through this same pearl I started with and go back through the pearl, so that when I pull, my X shape is on top, just like that. Alright, once you've done that, you're going to go right through the very next seed bead on that base circle. So that you're exiting out of the seed bead on the base circle. You want to pick up 3 size 11 seed beads. My thread is exiting in this direction. I want to make a loop over the top of this one seed bead. So I'm going to come back around and come through the same seed bead I'm coming out of to make a circle. So that when I pull, the 3 seed beads I just added will lay on top of the seed bead I was originally coming out of. Now, I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come through the first seed bead of the 3 that I threaded on, which is this one right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and come on through it, going in the same direction as the thread. Just through the one bead. So that this is what you have so far when you add just that one. Now, you're going to pick up 7 size 11 seed beads. Okay, so there is your 7 seeds. I'm going to skip, I'm coming out here. I'm going to skip the 6mm, and I'm going to come through the next seed bead there on my base circle. So that my 7 seeds sit around the pearl just like this. This time, I'm going to pick up 2 seeds. I'm going to come back and I'm going to go through the 7th seed bead I just added and the seed bead I'm coming out of. So I'm going to come through 2 of these seeds. And I'm going to pull. So that way, I've made another little peacoat here at this one. Now I'm going to go through the first seed bead that I threaded on just now, which is this one right here. Pull that on through. You're ready to pick up your 7 seed beads now. Got your 7. You're going to skip the pearl and go through the next seed bead here along the outer circle. I'm going to pick up 2 seeds. I want to take my thread and I want to come back through the 7th seed bead I just added and the seed bead that I'm coming out of. So I've made another peacoat. I'm going to stick my needle through that first seed bead that I just added. I'm going to pick up 7. Skip the purl, go through the next seed bead here along the outer edge. I'm going to pick up 2 seeds. I'm going to come back through the 7th seed bead I just added and the one that I'm currently coming out of. And then, again, we're going to go through the first seed bead that I just added there on the peacoat. So far, this is what you should have. Now, we're going to work on this last loop, but on this last loop, you're only going to pick up 6 seeds. When you pick up those 6, you're going to come down through the seed bead right after the purl. So it's actually one of the seeds that we picked up when we did our little peacoat area there. So I'm going to go through that one so that actually finishes up our piece around it. And some of your loops are going to be a little bigger than the others, and that's completely fine. You haven't done anything wrong, and it'll work out on the next go round. Now I'm going to go through the seed bead here on the base. Then I'm going to go through 6 seed beads. So I'm going to go through these 3 and then these 3. You can't go through all 6 at a time. So that when you do, this is what you have so far. Now, you're done with your major seed bead embellishments, and you're fixing to get ready to move on to your actual crystal embellishments. So, the best thing and the easiest way to explain this, and you'll see as we go around the circle, is each time, right now, we are going to pick up a 15 and a 3mm. So a size 15 and a 3mm. I'm coming out right here, and I'm going to go through the seed bead that is sticking up there, which is actually my little peacoat seed bead, so that my 3mm lays right in the hole. Now I'm going to pick up a 3mm and a 15. Now the best way to kind of describe this is you have your seed bead that's actually connected to your peacoat, which is this one right here, and then you have the next one. So you're actually going to skip these 2 seed beads, and you're going to go through the next 4 on your loop. So it'll actually be going through just like this. So you're not worrying about the very middle one on the base. You're just worried about the first connection and then the one right after it. So we're skipping 2 seed beads and then going through 4. You can see when you go through 4, then you're ready for the next step because you're skipping your 2 seed beads here. So when you pull it, now your other 3mm pops into place. Now I'm actually going to go ahead, it's completely up to you, I'm actually going to go ahead and cut my tail because I'm tired of it being in my way. So this is what you should have so far. Now we're just going to go around. I'm going to pick up a 15 and a 3mm. I'm going to come through the seed bead that is sticking up there of the peacoat. Now I'm going to pick up a 3mm and a 15. Again, I'm going to skip 2 seeds. The first seed bead is the one actually connected to my little 4 bead peacoat, and then I'm going to skip the one after it. So I'm going to skip 2 and then go through 4 seed beads. If you skip the 2 and you go through the 4, you're always going to come out at the right place to start your next 3mm embellishment. So I'm going to pick up a 15 and a 3mm. I'm going to come through my little bead sticking up here for my peacoat. I'm going to pick up a 3mm and a 15. I'm going to skip 2 beads, so the one connected to the little peacoat and the one after it, and then I'm going to go through 4 seed beads. Okay, one more time. I'm going to pick up a 15 and a 3mm. I'm going to go through the middle seed bead there sticking up, and then I'm going to pick up a 3mm and a 15, skip my 2, so 1, 2, and I'm going to go through 4. Now when I go through 4, I'm exiting at the exact same spot that I started with. And that's exactly where you want to be exiting out. Exactly where you want to be. So that when you finish it, this is what you have so far. Now, at this point, we're going to go around and we're going to put a size 11 seed bead in between each set of 3mm. So you're going to stitch through a 15 and a 3. You're going to pick up a size 11 seed bead, and you're going to go through the 3, the 15, your 4 11s, your 15, and your 3mm. You don't have to go through all of them at the same time. If you can get through a few of them, that's completely fine. But you see your little size 11 pops right into place there. So you're just going to stitch until you come out of the next 3mm. Pick up a size 11 seed bead. Go through the very next 3mm. Stitch around to the next 3. Pick up 111, go through the next 3mm, and then I'm going to add my last 11 here. And I'm going to stitch through to exit. Pull that one through there. Okay, so now I have my seed in between each of those corners, and I'm going to stitch through to exit out of the size 15 here at my next set of 3mm. So I'm just going to stitch through, and I want to be coming out of the size 15. I'm not going through the 3mm. I'm just going through the 15 there right before it. Now, at the top and the bottom, whichever way you decide is the top and the bottom, you can be this, this side here. It's completely up to you. But for the top and the bottom, you're going to add a loop of seed bead embellishments. And you'll see why we do that here in just a minute. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 3 size 11s. I'm going to skip the 3mm and I'm going to go through the seed bead sticking up. Okay, so it's that seed bead I just added just a few minutes ago. Now I'm going to pick up 3 size 11 seeds. I'm going to skip the 3mm and I'm going to come through the 15 right after it. Now, once I do that, I have two little loops here. And what I'm going to do is, I've already started, I'm going to stitch around to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing here on this side. You're not going to do it to all 4 corners. Just pick the top and the bottom, and you're going to do it just on the top and the bottom. So, I'm just going to stitch through the beads. And this just helps to reinforce the earring a bit as you stitch back through it. Okay, so I'm going to come out of the 3mm, or I'm sorry, the 15 right before the 3mm. So that this is what I've got so far. I'm going to pick up 3 size 11 seeds, skip the 3mm and go through the seed bead sticking up. And now I'm going to pick up 3 size 11s. I'm going to go through the size 15 after the crystal and then stitch all the way back around to exit out of the second seed bead here at the top. So I've got my 3, I'm going to skip the crystal, come through the 15, and then stitch all the way around to the other side. So I'm skipping the 3, going through the 15, now, when you get here to your embellishments, you're going to go through these first 2 beads of the first set of 3 that you added. So I'm just going to go through 2 of the beads. I'm going to pick up an 11, a 4mm, and an 11. I'm going to skip 3 seed beads, so I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go through these 2 here on the other side. So that once you go through that, that gives you a bicone here at the top. Now, you can either stitch all the way around and do the same thing on the other end, or work one end at a time, and that's what I like to do. So what I actually do, instead of stitching all the way back around, I'm coming out of the second, or the seed bead here, I'm actually going to stitch through the 3, the seed, the 3, and then back up through to reinforce this again. So I'm going to go through the 3mm, the size 11 seed bead, the 3mm, and then up through my 311s, my 4mm, and down through 311s. So this is what you have so far. Now I'm going to stitch back through those same beads I was just talking about because I want to exit back up here coming out of the 4mm, and I'm going to go ahead and add the bail for my earring. So I'm going to go through the 3, the 11, the 3, then I'm going to go up through the 3 11s, and then through the bicone. So this is what you have so far. Now to add the bail, I'm coming out of that 4mm there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using my size 11 seed beads, and I'm going to pick up 4 size 11s, 1 4mm. I'm going to go ahead and let those drop all the way down. Now, I've never been able to find a wire protector in an antique copper, so I'm going to be using a twisted jump ring. Now, I like to use the twisted jump rings because they're a much heavier gauge, and it's very hard to get them open and closed. So once you get it closed, it's pretty much closed and you don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to make sure the jump ring is closed. I'm going to pick up the jump ring, and I'm going to come back down through the 4mm and 1 seed bead right after it. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that thread. And you can see I hold my beads so that way it'll stay nice and tight. If you have the wire protector in the color that you want to go, please use the wire protector instead of the jump ring. I'm going to pick up 3 11s, and I started the earring bail on this side, so I'm going to come back through the same 4mm that I ended up with on the base here to finish out that part of the earring. Now, you want to go through and reinforce by going back through the 4 seeds, the 4mm, go through the loop, and then back down through the 4mm, the seed, the 3, and the 4. And then stitch all the way down to exit out of the second seed bead here to the bottom. So I've reinforced, stitched down to the bottom, and you want to pick up an 11, a 4mm, and an 11. We're going to skip 3 seeds, so 1, 2, and 3, and then you're going to come through the 2 here to the side and pull, so that when you do, that adds your bottom embellishment. Now, just as I did the top, I'm not going to stitch all the way around. I'm just going to stitch through the 3mm, the 11, the 3mm, through the 3 11s here on the side, through the 4mm, and then through the 3 11s on this side. Now this just helps to reinforce that a little bit, and I'm actually going to go ahead and knot this. So I'm going to go under the thread between my 15 and my 11, leave myself a little loop, go through the loop, pull, and then I stitch through a few more beads, going to do the same thing for this one. Go under the thread, and I'm going to go ahead and go through just a few more beads, and trim the tail. So that now you have one of the finished earrings. So then you'll want to repeat all these steps to make the second earring. Once you have each earring complete, then you're ready to attach your ear hooks. So I'm going to use a pair of flat nose pliers. I'm going to grab a hold of the cut there in my ear hook, and I'm going to twist it upward, thread on my earring, and close that ear hook back, making sure that you get that good and closed. And then do the same thing with the other. Twist up, put your ring in there, and then close it back. So that now you have a beautiful pair of Queen's Jubilee earrings. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As I said, we do have the 4 different colorways that are available on our Etsy site, which can be found at the address right here below me. We have a special edition color set. It's $24 because it's completely Swarovski crystals, but it's in the beautiful Jubilee colors of the red, the white, and the blue. So that is a special edition one that will only have about 6 or 7 of those kits. But otherwise, they're online. The size 11C beads are on our Etsy site, as well as the 6mm pearls. So if you need those, that's where you can go to get those. Be sure and check us out on Facebook, and